This is the magicvideoblog.com.
Hi, Michael Sullivan here, and welcome to another episode of the Magic Video Blog. On this episode, I'm going to share my ideas as to what I think may help people get into magic for the very first time. Okay, tip number 1. Spend the time to be a professional spectator before you spend the time becoming a professional magician. What I mean by that is that I think it's very important to spend the time watching as much magic before you know the secrets. And I'm not talking about YouTube or the internet. I'm talking about going to find where magic is happening in your local area, go and watch their shows and absorb the spectator point of view of what you're seeing, because the process that you use in order to come up with a solution to what you're seeing when you watch magic before you know the secrets is completely different, in my opinion, to the methods that you start to use when you learn the secrets, and you find it then harder to go back when you've always got in the back of your mind methods compared to not having them at all to fall back on as far as working out what you've just seen. Tip number 2. Tip number 2 is that, for me, magic is broken up into 2 things. You have the effect and the presentation. Without both of them, there is no magic. So, sorry folks, if those who just think you can go out and learn a whole pile of secrets and 10 knuckle-busting tricks, if you don't have some sort of presentational skill, then that's just a trick. It's not magic. So you need to work on presentation as much as you work on the sleight of hand. Tip number 3 is my first point as far as presentation goes. Let me give you an example. If I'm at a restaurant and I approach a table, I have my 2 set intro tricks that allows me to first judge the people at the table to get a feel and make the decision whether or not they like magic or they don't like magic, or they like comedy or they don't like comedy. So what I mean by this is that if I perform the trick and it feels like the magic's not going down really well, but they're laughing like crazy to the jokes, then I'll make the decision to back off on the magic and step up the comedy. So, because at the end of the day, it's most important that when the booker or the manager of the place asks people, did they enjoy the magic, they're going to say yes, because if you walk up to a table and you get a feel that they don't like magic and you continue to ram it down their throat, their experience is just going to die right there. They're not going to have any fun. Whereas if you get an inclination that these guys like to have a laugh, step up the laughter, and vice versa. If I'm at the table and they're enjoying the magic, but I feel the comedy's not going down, well, then I'll ease up on the comedy and I'll speed up the magic. So at the end of the day, it's about choosing how you perform at each table in that situation as much as it is the trick. So sometimes, as much as we all like magic, there are going to be occasions where you need to back the magic off because that situation calls for it. Tip number 4. I think it's best to start off with self-working tricks or tricks that have very few mechanics in them, because that way you can spend more time on your presentation and not have to worry about the mechanics at the same time. So you only have to do one thing at a time. Whereas if you start off with something that's very fiddly and a lot of work to master, and you're still trying to work on presentational skills, it's a hell of a lot harder than taking something where you don't have to think about the mechanics and can just concentrate on the presentation. Doing magic for friends and family is by far 10 times easier than walking up to a complete stranger cold and having to interact with that person and perform magic to them. The sooner you, with a self-working trick of that, you know the magic straight away. So then it becomes all presentation. So you can develop those sort of skills. Methods will come much more easily, in my opinion, than the presentational skills. Tip number 5, perform the tricks exactly as they described in the book or on the DVD, because someone else has done the hard yards in order to create a presentation and a method for you. So get that down pat and then work on making it your own later on. Tip number 6, try to stick to learning only 2 or 3 tricks at first and master those. Don't get caught out, and I know it's exciting, but you need to fight the urge to want to learn every trick out there in your first 3 months, because what you'll find, you get that far down the track and you can't quite do any trick good enough to perform for somebody. Don't get caught up in the excitement to want to learn all the secrets at once before you have 2 or 3 things down reasonably well.